Now, spending years on end sailing around the world might sound like a dream for some or a nightmare for others. But with pandemic-related travel restrictions making it harder to travel abroad, a new generation of sailors are emerging, selling their landlocked homes and sailing away with the Orinoco float. Last year, boat sales in the USA reached a 13-year high, with over 300,000 powerboats sold. And this year, it's due to be another record breaker, with sales up 30% compared to 2020. Perhaps surprisingly, it's young people fueling that rise, with just over 400,000 first-time buyers entering the market. So, those are the stats, but what's the reality of giving up your life to live on a boat? Well, Jason and Nikki Wynn live full-time on Curiosity and vlog about their adventures on their popular YouTube channel Gone with the Wynns, and they join us from their current port of call in New Zealand now. Very good to see the two of you there. You're in New Zealand. Where did you sail there from?
Well, we got here from Tonga and originally left from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
When did you set off on this big trip of yours?
In 2016 is whenever we bought the boat. And of course, we were one of those people that had absolutely no experience.
Where have you been on your adventures? Where have they taken you so far?
Okay, so we left Fort Lauderdale, sailed to the Bahamas, all through the Bahamas, then sailed down to Panama, through the canal, down to Ecuador, across the Pacific Ocean to French Polynesia, the Marquesas, and then on to a little tiny island that almost nobody's heard of called Niue, and the Cook Islands in between, and Tonga, and now all the way to New Zealand. So we're about a third of the way, maybe a little over a third of the way around the world.
So your travels predate COVID. You heard those stats just there. Are you surprised that so many people are giving up life at home and jumping on a boat instead?
No, not at all, actually, just because RV and van sales have also gone up. I think the nomadic lifestyle in general is taken a huge shift. It was already becoming really popular, but with the pandemic, being able to work remote is no longer this new and maybe unnerving thing for a lot of businesses. It's become a norm, which makes it way more possible for so many people to be able to work from anywhere. And so I think that's really opened up the opportunity for a lot of people who've been thinking about it, dreaming about it, and then bam, opportunity.
Travel has been hampered by air and by land because of various lockdown restrictions. Have you had any issues in the countries that you've sailed to being turned away or not being allowed in?
How long is this program? So we were actually flying back from America through South Africa and on our way to Tonga, which is where we left our boat for the cyclone season. Mm-hmm. And we got stuck in Fiji for 7
Oh no, I feel so sorry for you.
Yeah.
So our boat was in Tonga. We eventually got into Tonga, and we were literally the only boat sailing around Tonga, which was amazing in one aspect, but the other aspect is you're in this remote island. You can't really get things, it was difficult to get things. Our boat needed repairs, and that's kind of how we ended up sailing down to New Zealand. New Zealand is technically closed, but they graciously let us in because we had so many boat problems that needed to be fixed.
And they were the closest possible country for us to be able to get those boat problems fixed, yeah.
So you've kind of touched on it there. I mean, some of the positives are obvious, the exotic locations you can visit, the ability to work from home, but there must be some negatives to this life on the open ocean as well.
There are. So one is being isolated and away from friends and family. So for instance, right now, if we were to leave our boat again, we have this terrible fear of we won't be able to get back to it anytime soon. So that's hard, which means we can't take a trip home. So we haven't seen our friends or our family back in the US in a little over 2 years now. And with no real projection of when that will happen, which that's the case for lots of people, right? We're displaced. So there's that, but that's kind of always the thing. You choose to be away. So it's going to be long stretches in between seeing those friends and family. So we feel a little disconnected in that way. And then just the amount of work that if you're actually going to be sailing around the world or taking on bigger passages like we do, then there's a load of work involved in maintaining the vessel and planning and preparation to make all of that possible.